Hi everyone, Simon Jacobson here for another episode of Meaningful Live. How to do the high holidays like a pro. This program is dedicated in honor of the birthday of Julie Gnevish. Happy birthday. Those of us that have grown up in environments, in homes, religious homes, that attended Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur services in a very intense way, are very accustomed and very familiar with all the traditions, the prayers, the services. That doesn't necessarily mean it's more relevant. It just means it's something you just do. Some do it out of guilt. Some do it out of tradition. Some do it out of superstition, making a deal with God, New Year. In general, especially in the United States, in the Western world, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur is in the consciousness of most Jews. Not all, but many. And people go to synagogue expecting either nothing or expecting a lot. But it's an ultimate paradox, because on one hand, we're told these are the high holidays, the holy days that are meant to change your life. But let's be honest, how many people can say that after Rosh Hashanah, after Yom Kippur, their lives have been changed? Like many people tell me, yeah, we go in with the same expectations, and every year it's the same story. For many, it's very mechanical, done by rote. For some, it's actually very negative and even bittersweet type of experiences. Many people have experienced religious trauma or religious irrelevance or religious abuse. So we're dealing here with a real paradox. I grew up in a traditional Jewish home, in a Hasidic home. I went to synagogue, and Rosh Hashanah and Kippur were serious days. But to be very frank, it took time till I discovered its deeper spiritual meaning. And when I did, it was eye-opening. It was transformative. And I find that this paradox to be a real problem, because most people I meet, I would say almost all, will say it never lives up to its billing. You know, these special days, some people have warm and nice experiences. They may hear a nice sermon, may be inspired, but lasting transformative effect. I remember last year a couple telling me they took their children to synagogue, and the children, all they did was sit with their phones, and they were texting, social media, watching a movie, sports, and other stuff that they do anywhere. They just sat there. That's how they killed the time. They said, how could we inspire our children with something that we ourselves are not really that inspired by? So I want to address this very directly and head on, without mincing words, without any gloves. So it's going to be as blunt as it gets. You know, there's a statistic that always strikes me, that over 90% of Americans believe in some form of God and spirituality and soul. But only 40% associate with a religion. Now that's a big discrepancy. The reason is very simple, because when it comes to religion and God in that context, a religious context, most people associate, and I'll just give the free association, knee-jerk reaction when you hear the word religion. We'll start with the mild associations, the ones that are more innocuous, things like tradition, family, community, synagogue or house of worship, clergy, prayer, ritual, charity. These are the words that you usually hear. Holidays. It gets a little more edgy when you watch a Woody Allen movie, or you've experienced some of the more, we'll call it mediocre or even negative aspects. So then religion is associated with neurosis, fear, anger, punishment, punitiveness, judgmentalism, condescension, conformity. I mean, these are not words that necessarily evoke anything that makes you excited. So this is what you're dealing with. When it comes to spirituality, on the other hand, here are the words that it evokes. Spirituality, free spirit, transcendence, music, soul, love, stuff like that, which, of course, is a very different experience. Can these two come together? And unfortunately, for many, it does not. And if you need an acute time of the year where this is pronounced, that's the high holiday season. Now, I know I've been talking a lot here about the problem. We want to talk, of course, solutions. So I want to introduce another way of looking at it. And for that, I do ask you to at least put aside, short term, put aside some of the preconceived notions we may have, some of the prejudices, the biases, even if they're legitimate, meaning legitimate experiences. And let's look at it with a fresh set of eyes. Now, of course, I'm talking about these holidays, so I can't really conceal the terms being used. We spoke of Rosh Hashanah. But here's how I would put it. Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, not just a day of judgment, not just a day of accountability, it's a day of purpose. This is the birthday of the human race, the birthday of every one of us as individuals. And the one most important question you ask yourself on Rosh Hashanah is, why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? What is my calling? What is the indispensable mission I was given to transform my corner of the world and make it a better place than it was before I arrived? What is unique about my voice, my song? In the words of Oliver Wendell Holmes in The Voiceless, alas to those that die with their song still inside them. No, I don't want to die with my song still inside me. What is my unique song? In the words of the Bible, where God says to Adam, where are you? Ayeka in Hebrew. Where are you? I don't recognize you. You've betrayed yourself. You've betrayed me. You've betrayed your purpose. So Rosh Hashanah is a calling. It's a wake-up call. Where do you stand with your life? The sound of the shofar is that wake-up call. It's a primal sound that touches the deepest part of your soul. You think of it that way, it changes the whole perspective. It's a day when our contract is renewed. Yes, our divine contract, our partnership with the transcendent. Our contract is renewed. And when we are renewing a contract, accountability is very much part of life. Who do you hold accountable? Not people that you don't respect, not people that you think are incapacitated or handicapped. You hold accountable people that you trust, that you have confidence in. That's part of relationship. Trust is not built on perfection. It's built on accountability. So Rosh Hashanah is a day of accountability. Here's a day, a new year begins. What have we done with our lives? Have I fulfilled my purpose? Is my life been driven by personal pleasure, by making money, by impermanent or instant gratification? Or is it driven by some higher calling? That's what Rosh Hashanah is, higher calling. And there's accountability when it comes to that. And that's the vote of confidence. So instead of many people who tell me they experience Rosh Hashanah is a day that I tremble. Is God going to kill me? Is he going to put me in the book, write me in the book of life? Is he going to inscribe me in the book of life or in the book of death? I have to make a deal with God. It comes down to a very juvenile, childish experience fraught with superstition, fraught with all the guilt and the negativity of being punished, instead of saying, no, this is a day of dignity, a day of responsibility, a day of your calling, your birthday. That this is a day of vote of confidence in you and what you're capable of doing, and how you're going to live up to it. And like any accountability, when you finish the end of a tax year or a financial year of your business, what do? You evaluate. You take stock. Introspection, soul searching. How have we done? Where can we improve? What mistakes did we make? What can we do to make it better? That's the healthy way of growing. And then you determine how you do make it better. That's the Rosh Hashanah experience. That's uplifting. It's empowering. We teach that to our children, and this is the way you do it. And the prayers and the customs and the traditions, those are the tools. Those are the methods. But one thing you're looking for, Ayeko, where are you? Where do you stand? What's your calling in life? That's Rosh Hashanah. And indeed, when you look into the mystics, what do they write about Rosh Hashanah? Beautiful. It's so poetic. That right before Rosh Hashanah, before the new year, the entire existence goes into a comatose state. And essentially, the creative energy that energizes existence recedes. Just like electricity recedes back into its source, anxiously anticipating the renewal of its contract, the renewal of energy. And a new energy, unprecedented in all of time, enters into the cosmos, enters into our lives to help us experience true and total renewal. Renewal is one of the most greatest blessings in life. Tell me, how many of us suffer from the monotony, the routine, the drudge, the rut, going back through the same grind of life. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Oh, I'm trapped in the past. Every time I try something new, always gravitate back. The inertia of life. Renewal means that you are pumping, you're pulsating with new energy. And Rosh Hashanah, that energy bursts forth, waiting for you to access it. But if you come back with the old tools and with your old patterns and routines, then you're taking new energy. Basically, like they say, good money is following bad money. The good new energy is becoming trapped in your old patterns, in your old resignations. So Rosh Hashanah requires a certain cleaning of the slate. We're saying, okay, there's a new inner force inside me, inside everyone around me. How am I going to access that? And it comes down to real determination that I want to access it. I want to be around people that are rejuvenated and have that sense of renewal, sense of a fresh new start in that sense. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Of course, habits and routines and the past can hang over us. But at least when you understand that you have the capacity, then you begin to free yourself of that past. And lay out, write down, take a journal and write down on a piece of paper. What are the things that are keeping me trapped? Is it my parents? Is it my childhood traumas? Is it my spouse? Is it my family? Is it my work? Is it my own psychological, all the negative voices, those voices inside me that keep telling me that you can't do it, you can't do it. And for each one of these forces, find something that counters it. Find a new friend, find a new book, find a new hope. This is Rosh Hashanah. And it's a tremendously exciting opportunity, an unprecedented opportunity to begin afresh and new. And let's cut out all that whole negativity that's associated, all those guilty, negative, punishment-oriented fear. Fear is a word I should have mentioned. The association of fear, fear of God, fear of punishment, fear of destiny. All that throughout the window. What you're looking for is the hope, the confidence, the love of yourself, the love of your purpose. And that brings me to the second part. Where does Rosh Hashanah lead to? The next is Yom Kippur. What is Yom Kippur in that context? Again, for many, a day of atonement, a day of forgiveness, a day of banging our chests and confessing our sins. Another day of guilt. Yom Kippur is a day of hope. It's the birth of hope, the birth of forgiveness, the birth of recognizing that no matter what happens in life, even when things are broken, there's always ability to repair. What's the story? Why is it the holiest day of the year? Because back then, I'm talking about close to over 3,300 years ago, the Jewish people were stood at Sinai. They married the divine. They made a marriage contract with God, a relationship. And then they betrayed God. They built a golden calf. Adultery, infidelity. They betrayed their promise. We all have in our lives betrayals. Hopefully not of that sort, but everyone has broken promises, shattered dreams, some form of violation, some betrayal. Everybody has their story. What happens next? So you can say, you know what? It's over. Listen, we had it was good while it lasted. Now one of us betrayed the other. I no longer trust you. I no longer want to have a relationship with you. The great Moses marches up on the mountain, says no. He will not take no for an answer. He says, yes, we need to be accountable, but I need you, God, to show me that you can forgive. You can dig deeper and find in you that there's a deeper love. Yes, it's been severed on some levels, but there's something even deeper. And Moses spends 80 days praying, beseeching, begging, pleading. Connect to that deeper place. I understand there's an injury on the surface level or even deeper than the surface, but there's something deeper. I need you to tell me that I can tell the people that you make mistakes, but if you're accountable and you repair them, there's always hope to rebuild. And that's what happens. 80 days it takes him. Finally comes down from the mountain on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, with the second set of tablets. And right after Kol Nidre, what do we say after Kol Nidre Yom Kippur night? That God says, I have forgiven them as you have spoken. Moses prevails over God and says, I've gained forgiveness. This is what we say Yom Kippur night. The ability to forgive, to rebuild. Yes, it takes work. You can't just say, let's forgive and forget. We have to work on it. We have to be accountable. But ultimately, there's always hope. And once you rebuild after something's been broken, there's a certain indestructibility that enters into the picture, which leads us to the tremendous joy of the next stage of the holidays, Sukkot, culminating with Simchas Torah, unbelievable joy, a joy of indestructibility. Because something that was broken and then fixed, something that proved itself to be stronger, the love was stronger than the breach, that is indestructible. So there you have the structure of the holidays, the poetic structure of renewal, hope, and tremendous joy, indestructibility, the ability to really take life completely to another dimension and level. That's the story of the holidays. When you think of it that way, it's the story of our own lives. Who of us have not gone through these challenges? We all are in need of renewal. We're all in need of a new start. We all need to understand that we have a purpose and mission in life. We all need forgiveness. We all need to know that there's hope, even after a break, even after loss. Love lost, but love regained. And we all need tremendous joy. To know that the bigger story is that we forge ahead, that the narrative is not over until we repair and rebuild our lives. That's a story that I think every child, every man, woman, and child deserves to hear. And that would make the high holidays attractive. Not just attractive, hopefully addictive, if you can put it in those terms. Unfortunately, again, sometimes the religious packaging, the ornaments take over, and it becomes this mechanical thing. We're doing these rituals, these routines. Mechanical Judaism, lip service. We sit in the synagogue and we say words. So my advice is, think of these themes. Whether you choose to go to synagogue, even if you're in a synagogue, think of these themes. Look at some prayers, just choose a few of them, and see how they reinforce these themes of purpose, mission, renewal, of hope, forgiveness, and of tremendous joy in knowing that no matter what happens in life, you can always rebuild. Think of those themes and then look at the traditions and see where they work in. Talk about it with your children. Talk about it with friends. That's the way we can reclaim these life-changing holidays, because they are life-changing holidays. That's how you do it like a pro. The truth is, whenever I hear the word professional, I always think of myself the joke where they say the Titanic was built by professionals. The Ark, Noah's Ark, was built by an amateur. So professionals don't always have it right. But it's an expression. As a matter of fact, sincerity, the simplicity of just standing before God, standing in a way vulnerable, open to change, open to growth, open to hope. These are the forces that really make it real. Make it real, make it authentic, make it honest, make it personal. That's the ultimate, most professional way. It's not professional. Anyone who says, I have a professional way of doing Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, yeah, that already sounds too commercial and corporate and bureaucratic. But the real pros are the ones that just can be with an open heart. Open your heart and say, here's what I want to experience. Here's what I'm looking for. Take your challenges in life and let Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, that triangle, that triad, respond. Personalize it. And I will say, I don't know if you have my book, 60 Days. It's an excellent book. That's a journal that goes through, it's like a journal journey. It goes through all the 60 days of these special days and gives you many tools in achieving much of what I've said here, or maybe even more. So check it out. It's book 60 Days. You can get daily emails. There's a podcast, a lot of material on this. But the key thing is to make it yours. Own it. And you'll be surprised that you could maybe this year experience true personal transformation, true personal and global redemption. Everyone have a very sweet and blessed year. Materially, spiritually, abundance, all in good health. And may you grow to become the person you are always meant to be and beyond. Actualizing your tremendous potential, fulfilling your calling, your unique calling. And doing so, recognizing that we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for accountability. And we're looking for an accountability that can address even things that may have been broken, how you can repair and rebuild, and do so with tremendous joy, knowing that no matter what has happened in life, you can always reach heights that are unprecedented. Be blessed. Very happy, sweet year. Shana Tova to all. And please, as always, I'd love to hear your feedback, your comments, your thoughts. I'd love you to share this and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And in every possible way, please interact and connect. Shana Tova to all. This has been Simon Jacobson, MeaningfulLife.com. Thank you, and a blessed good year.